We take a trip to Las Vegas to find the most unique eats.
Hash House A Go-Go. The dish that draws the most attention is their fried chicken and bacon waffle tower. Alburaya Raku.
One of their signature dishes is their homemade tofu.
This tofu may be the most photographed and tweeted about and Facebook tofu you've ever seen.
First, food and bar.
Monkey bread is insane.
When it comes out of the oven, all you can see is these balls stuck together and juice running down the sides and through the middle. Who doesn't want to eat that?
Holsteins, shakes and buns.
At Holsteins, they have nachos, but it's kind of like through the looking glass. It looks like nachos, but everything in it is sweet, and it's a dessert.
These are unique eats.
People say Texas is big. Vegas is big. Big casinos, big buffets, big butts, all over the place. Vegas is big, but there's nothing bigger than the portions at Hash House A Go-Go.
Hash House A Go-Go.
I'm listening.
The food at Hash House A Go-Go they call twisted farm food.
Twisted farm food is all the things that you grew up with, all your old school grandma recipes, and you freak it out. You recognize it when you see it, but it just has that twist to it. Honestly, it just makes it Hash House.
The dish that gets the most attention at Hash House A Go-Go is the sage fried chicken and bacon waffle tower. It's a mouthful, it's gigantic, it's piled up. It's probably bigger than most buildings in Vegas.
Let's start with the chicken. The breading is unique. They're using pastry flour and cornstarch that creates a very tender and crispy crust. They're seasoning it with sage and Old Bay seasoning.
Now, the surprise ingredient in that is cornflakes. They get them crushed and blended with the dry ingredients, and these cornflakes are gonna add a great crunch to the outside coating.
The fried chicken is served with waffles, but not just a plain buttermilk waffle. They're adding strips of crispy bacon to the waffle iron.
The bacon kind of sticks out from the inside of the waffle, right from the corners of it.
Now it's time to build the tower. At the base, the bacon waffle, and then 2 pieces of fried chicken.
The sauce on the fried chicken is a reduction of maple syrup. We take cold butter and whisk it in, so it's almost like a reduced maple syrup caramel.
So be sure to ask for more syrup.
And an insulin injection.
A huge sprig of fresh rosemary is jammed down the center, and then a generous handful of fried leeks is drizzled over top. Barbecue sauce, a confetti of chopped bell peppers, and pear-shaped yellow tomatoes.
There's a lot in this dish that's all about securing this amazing tower of waffle and chicken to the plate. I mean, just getting it to the table is a challenge.
People are blown away when you're delivering a portion of food the size of a small child.
You could basically feed an entire village of strippers with one dish.
Chicken is moist, crust is super crispy, and the waffle with this bacon running through it. I was delighted to see that.
I know this dish is outrageous, but it did say tower in the description. So, I mean, it's your bad if you're not fully aware that there's gonna be something totally ridiculous coming to your table.
A signature sandwich at Hash House A Go-Go is the Kokomo. Think meatloaf sandwiches your mom might have made, but better. Sorry, Mom.
Everybody grew up with meatloaf. I mean, you always have it left over. What do you do with it? Heat it up, make a sandwich out of it.
The meatloaf was made the day before, and it's definitely a loaf of meat. We're talking ground beef, pork sausage, pork tenderloin, and a lot of bacon. Did I say a lot of bacon? A lot of bacon.
It's sliced cold so it can hold its shape, and then it gets heated on the flat top, sort of like a steak.
Instead of ketchup, they're using roasted whole peeled tomatoes that have been crushed and seasoned with garlic and basil.
Melted cheese also goes into the sandwich, but they're not just melting it onto the bread. Instead, they're putting the cheese on the flat top so that it becomes almost like a cheese cracker.
All this stuff gets stacked together with some toasted bread. and the plate is finished with barbecue sauce, bell pepper confetti, and spaghetti that has been deep fried as a garnish. My God.
The design of this dish takes that meatloaf sandwich to another level simply because you've got the texture of that cheese wafer cracker thing. You've got basically a homemade ketchup. The nuances of the meat are interesting. If you appreciate good flavor, it's got everything going for it.
Did I finish my kokomo? No.
I kind of felt like I needed a colonoscopy after eating it.
At the end of the day, it's not about finishing your dish and eating responsibly. It's Sin City, after all. You're going there to get into it. And at Hash House A Go-Go, there is no choice. You're in it.
I love it. It's home style, and you get a lot for your money.
They're making comfort food, but they're letting you always know, you're in Vegas, Dorothy. You're not in Kansas anymore.
I think the best restaurant in Vegas is Raku.
The food is just bonkers awesome. It's like taking a quick jaunt to Japan.
Holsteins is really known for their milkshakes and floats, and they are not shy about creating the unusual flavor combinations.
There's this road off the strip called Spring Mountain Road, and it's the virtual Asia town of Las Vegas. So many people have come from all these Asian countries to work in the casinos, and what you find are these pockets of authentic Asian communities that are making really delicious food.
Raku is this amazing oasis inside a shopping plaza.
Chef owner Mitsuo Endo was born and raised in Tokyo, and that's where he started his cooking career.
The intimacy of the space itself, let alone the food, is a complete different universe, galaxy, world of the energy that you find on the Strip in Las Vegas.
One of their signature dishes is their homemade tofu. I dream about this tofu.
Raku's tofu is actually very simple to make. It's just like every other great food item. All it requires is attention and a little love.
What is tofu made of? Soybeans, that's it. They soak dried soybeans overnight and then place them into a blender. So they essentially make a soybean puree.
That soy milk is then heated for just 10 minutes and strained through a cloth as well as a fine mesh sieve. Then it's cooked briefly just a second time.
Now, the temperature and the cook time for the soy milk is very important here because they add nigari, which is an enzyme from the sea. As it gets swirled in, the soy milk begins to slightly thicken. After another 30 to 40 minutes, the tofu is ready to be then scooped right into baskets.
After it cools down to room temperature, the tofu is placed in a refrigerator so all the excess liquid slowly drains out.
It actually doesn't need anything. I could eat this tofu by itself. But it comes with ginger, scallions, and bonito flakes, which all give it some aromatics, a little sharpness, some umami from the bonito flakes, a meaty essence, if you will.
It melts in your mouth when eating this beautiful creation of tofu.
It's a cloud of soy that is like, it's like the best ricotta cheese you've ever had, except it's tofu.
If you don't want cold tofu, you can also get your tofu hot. And agadashi tofu, who doesn't love agadashi tofu?
Age means to fry, so agemono is fried food in Japanese. So agadashi tofu is tofu that's sitting in this dashi broth. It's garnished with green onions, dried seaweed, and salmon roe for that briny bite.
This tofu may be the most photographed and tweeted about and Facebook tofu you've ever seen. So if you're gonna go to Vegas, you better have it.
You get that smoky flavor of the bonito, that umami from the kombu, and it's just like caressing this fried ball of like amazing.
This is the real tofu here.
The real deal.
This is the real deal. Like he said, my brother.
In the kitchen, there's a traditional robotic grill, and that's where they grill skewers of meat, seafood, or vegetables over charcoal.
It is a really fun way to try something really simple, like chicken, but presented 3 different ways. I mean, you can get chicken thigh, chicken breast, chicken wrapped in a chicken skin, and tsukune, which is a ground chicken skewers. Those were delish.
To make the tsukune, they start with a bowl of diced chicken, 2 eggs, and yama-imo, which is a variety of Japanese potato. He actually blends the chicken mixture with incredible force and strength, just using his hands until it becomes a homogeneous paste.
He grabs some of the mixture and shapes it into a ball, then presses it against what looks like a popsicle stick.
And the technique on this robotic grill, because it's such high heat, is you need a lot of oil so that your protein won't stick. But what Chef Endo does is he taps it on the grill, so you form a skin on the outside of it, so you can finally put it down and it won't stick to the grill.
It's then dipped into a container of teriyaki sauce and placed back onto the grill. But by dipping it in after slightly cooking, the chicken has a perfect caramelization, and there's no chance of it burning.
While the tsukune cooks, Chef adds a chicken breast wrapped in chicken skin skewer and a chicken thigh skewer. They're placed directly over the coals with no grate to get nice and crisp and juicy and delicious.
It's that simple. There are no garnishes. You're just tasting pure, delicious, charcoal grilled, greasy deliciousness.
Chicken.
Chicken.
You get this beautiful charcoal flavor and that crispy skin, the kawa. Kawa is my favorite thing on the planet.
When you go to Vegas, you have to make a stop at Raku.
It's the antidote to all that glitz and fakery. I mean, this place is the real deal. It's authentic Japanese cooking.
It's some of the best Japanese food I've had ever. And again, that tofu lives on in my mind. I'll be thinking about it on my deathbed. It's so good.
First Food and Bar is definitely my kind of place.
The most unique thing on the menu is the barbecued pulled pork egg roll. 2 very different dishes married together. I mean, this is Vegas after all. When you're in danger of losing all your money in Vegas, or when you maybe won a bunch of money and you want to celebrate, either way, American food, something nice about it.
First Food and Bar is in the Palazzo Hotel.
It's the kind of place where you can get breakfast for lunch, you can get lunch for dinner, you can get breakfast for dinner.
Dinner for breakfast?
People really come out of the box when they're in Las Vegas. I think people tend to be a little bit more decadent. I think women come a little more sexy. People eat a little bit more extravagantly.
The most unique thing on the menu at First Food and Bar is the barbecue pulled pork egg roll. Now, there's 2 very different dishes going on here. There's the Southern pulled pork and the Chinese egg roll. I mean, this is Vegas after all, right? You can pull this off.
He starts by brushing the edges of an egg roll wrapper with an egg wash. A spoonful of creamy corn-studded grits spiced with jalapeno goes on top.
What we do here is slow roasted pork shoulder with a dry rub, which is cooked fork tender with a barbecue sauce.
On top of the barbecue pulled pork is a sprinkle of cheddar cheese. The egg roll is then rolled up and deep fried.
On the plate, extra barbecue sauce is smeared across the serving dish. The egg rolls are cut into thirds and arranged like sushi. And then the pieces are topped with coleslaw that's been made with cabbage, red onion, and carrot.
And when you take that first bite, it's suddenly your pulled pork dream. The flavor of the pulled pork is really intense and delicious.
The unifying ingredient in this dish is pork, central to Chinese cuisine and also to Southern cuisine. I can almost see how this dish happened. But it's Vegas, and anything can happen in Vegas.
Now, at First Food and Bar, they have warm monkey bread. This is where I make the sound of a monkey.
Monkey bread is something that I think is a lot of fun. I think the cool thing about it is everyone gets their fingers in it.
I thought monkey bread could have been the essence and soul of 1,000 monkeys put into one loaf of monkey bread. I was way wrong.
Monkey bread is rolls baked together, loosely connected, so you really want to like reach in there and grab, like a monkey, your own piece.
They start with biscuit dough and roll them in cinnamon sugar, and then they pack them into an individual loaf pan. Right before it goes into the oven, they pour over melted butter and brown sugar, which soaks into all of the nooks, all of the crannies, and is going to bind it together with that sweet, sweet, sugary mess.
When the monkey bread is ready, they invert it. So as it comes off, you see all of these golden balls of monkey bread that have soaked in the butter and the brown sugar.
And then they top it with sliced bananas and a scoop of soft vanilla ice cream.
There's something totally irresistible about warm, doughy desserts just out of the oven. I mean, the bananas are there to make you feel like you're getting your healthy 5 fruits or whatever, but come on, the action, it's all in the hot balls.
The highest achievement in the dessert arts is this like mixture of brown sugar, cinnamon, butter.
I was not a knife and fork person with the monkey bread. I used my hands. I used the hands of the people sitting next to me. I swear I did on my life. I used anything I could grab to get this monkey bread into my stomach.
Monkey bread is a dish that Siegfried and Roy would appreciate. It's something that you want to like jump through hoops to get.
And no monkeys had to die in the making of this monkey bread. PETA's gonna watch this, right?
Hello, how are you?
First Food and Bar serves comfort food that's totally over the top, which is exactly what Vegas is.
The wow factor is important to me. I mean, I really want people to walk away and say, wow.
Theatricality is the name of the game. And at Holsteins, the desserts are over the top.
It's Cirque du Soleil-esque. You can try different things and have fun with everything.
If you're craving what we're dishing, log on to cookingchanneltv.com/unique-eats.
You're in Vegas. You're basically acting out your fantasy of being in the cast of Jersey Shore, all right?
You're gonna spend your day at the pool wearing your new thong, and then you're gonna go gamble and maybe win a lot of money and perhaps lose a little money.
Everyone needs a little nosh, a little munchie, a little something to kind of keep you going. And the place to go is undoubtedly Holsteins at the Cosmopolitan, right in the Strip.
Holsteins looks almost like a Japanese teenager's bedroom. It's got sort of cool cartoons, light coming from different angles. It's a hall of mirrors, but really fun.
They're featuring burgers and they're featuring shakes, but they're also featuring desserts, which you might want to have late at night.
At Holsteins, they have nachos, but it's kind of like through the looking glass. It looks like nachos, but everything in it is sweet, and it's a dessert.
Even when I was developing the dessert, every time I plated it, I would kind of giggle because it looks just like nachos. And you eat it just like nachos with your hands.
She starts with the same fried tortilla chips that start every nachos, right? But she quickly fries them, and then the minute they're out of the fryer, still hot, still with a little bit of oil on them, she tosses them in sugar and just a little bit of lemon zest to brighten it up.
The cheese is actually Greek yogurt that's been sweetened and blended with mango puree. Now, what looks to be tomato salsa is actually strawberries that have been blended with sugar, lime zest, and lime juice.
To mimic ground beef, we did a chocolate streusel that gets sprinkled over the chips.
And the guacamole. I mean, talk about a fake out. It looks so much like guacamole, but what it is pistachio white chocolate cream.
And what's nachos without sour cream? In this case, creme fraiche sorbet.
I swear on my life, it looks like nachos, but I'm telling you, it's not nachos, it's a dessert. I'm thinking, holy shit, how has somebody never done this before?
I love how silly the dessert nachos are at Holsteins. They're going bigger, bolder, badder. You have to go large in Vegas.
feeling a little more traditional but still fun around the edges, you could get the brown cow float.
It's vanilla ice cream and a whipped cream flavored vodka and root beer, and we finish it off with a sprinkling of popping candy.
I don't think I can make a popping candy sound. I'll leave that to the Lee brothers.
Not that much noise, but...
Who doesn't love a root beer float with vodka? Holsteins. Fun for the whole family. Come on down, kids.
Holsteins is the kind of dessert place that you want in Vegas. It's to compete with, like, Penn and Teller's show, the fireworks, the big statements, the noises, the smells, the sounds, the sights, the, like, thump in your chest. Bumping. Bumping.
You don't want the night to end? Go to Holsteins. Have some of these desserts, have fun. It's a trip.
If it was run by futuristic strippers.
No, it's my radio voice.
There's a table of strippers there with their children, just, you know, Saturday afternoon.
Let me cuss again, Cooking Channel!